evening. Welcome to the October 2nd regular meeting of the East Windsor Regional School District Board of Education. Written advance notice of this meeting was provided at least 48 hours ago. Such notice provided the time, date, and location of this meeting and included the agenda to the extent it was known at that time. Notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with law. I know. Should I start again? I'm going to start again. Written advance notice of this meeting was provided at least 48 hours ago. Such notice provided the time, date, and location of this meeting and included the agenda to the extent it was known at the time. Notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with law. Minutes are being kept by the board secretary and will be made available promptly to any public requesting them from the board secretary at 25A Leshen Lane, Hightstown, New Jersey. Minutes will be provided at cost and in accordance with board policy. Are there any board members present who believe this meeting to be in violation of the Open Public Meetings Act? There being none, we may proceed. In compliance with the fire code of the state of New Jersey, I call your attention to the emergency exits for this room, which are located at the back and the sides. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item C.
Having read the materials received, I move the agenda be approved as submitted.
Second.
Are there any questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake.
Yes.
Ms. Lands.
Yes.
Ms. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Fornes.
Yes.
Mr. Weeks.
Yes.
Ms. Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso.
Yes. Item D.
Be it resolved that the East Windsor Regional School District may hold 2 closed sessions at this meeting. The closed sessions concern student matters, HIB report for October 2nd, 2023, personnel, administrator update, EWR SSA negotiations, and superintendent evaluation. Minutes of these closed sessions will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Second.
Any questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake.
Yes.
Ms. Lands.
Yes.
Ms. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Fornes.
Yes.
Mr. Weeks.
Yes.
Ms. Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson.
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso.
Yes. Now move on to student representative report.
Good evening, everyone. We're happy to be back and have lots of activities to report on in regards to the student body.
As we mentioned at our last meeting, our student council had been preparing for Rush Week, which lasted from September 20th to 22nd. It was a huge success after witnessing about 35 clubs fully participating, from Key Club to the Video Game Club, generating interest, recruiting new members, and genuinely making Hightstown High School a welcoming place for our underclassmen. We expect to see freshmen and sophomores much more active and involved within our school now.
We're very excited to say that this week is homecoming week, and we have a lot planned for the student body. Personally, this is my favorite week out of the entire school year, but it's a little bittersweet this time since it's our last one. We started the week with hallway decorating, which took place today from 2 to 6 p.m. Lots of students from each grade showed up to participate in the friendly competition, and the halls are looking great. This week is also a Spirit Week, and the student body started off strong, wearing blue shirts for World Bullying Prevention Day and pajama pants. The rest of the Spirit Days include Jersey Day, where students can wear anything related to MTV's Jersey Shore, sports jerseys, NJ colleges, and more. Then we have Barbie versus Oppenheimer, where you dress in all pink or Oppenheimer-style suits. Next is Generation Day, where freshmen are babies and toddlers, sophomores are college kids, juniors are soccer moms and barbecue dads, and seniors are senior citizens. Finally, we have Class Color Day on Friday, where each grade wears their assigned color.
Not only is Friday Class Color Day, but also the date of the annual pep rally. We are running a modified C-Day schedule so that students do not miss any classes. The pep rally will take place from 12:30 to 2:10, with numerous activities such as class games, the lip sync competition, announcing of the hallway decorating winner, and the introduction of the homecoming court. During that night's Pink Out themed football game, the homecoming king and queen will be announced, and the football and cheer teams will celebrate their senior night alongside the marching band. On Saturday, we have our homecoming dance hosted by the cheer team. Because of the pandemic, the dance had looked a little different in the past few years, so we're really thrilled to see that we're finally having a traditional homecoming dance this year.
When looking at our school's academic accomplishments, it's important that we recognize our semifinalists for the 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program, Alexander Wong and Rohan Vital. These two students have achieved an incredibly challenging task. More than 1.5 million students applied for this highly competitive scholarship, and Rohan and Alex are part of the less than 1% of American high school students who got to the semifinals. We wish them all the best as they enter the final round of competition for the scholarships that will be announced next spring.
Of course, our future academic success wouldn't be possible without the help of our senior counseling team, Mrs. Cox and Ms. Lopez. During various first and seventh periods, they had arranged college workshops open to any senior and thoroughly discussed how to set up Common App and Naviance. Personally, I found this information quite helpful, as they specifically address subjects not limited to our transcripts and letters of recommendation. Their help doesn't stop there, as our counselors have allotted lunchtimes on Tuesdays and Thursdays to provide additional assistance with our college process.
Another helpful resource for the senior class has been the numerous college visits set up by the school. As you may know, it can be difficult for students to make their way to colleges during the school year, especially if they're far away. We have nearly 50 representatives from colleges around the country visiting our school over the course of the next 2 months. Seniors have been taking advantage of this opportunity and showing up armed with questions for the helpful representatives. Sudipta has already attended the Boston University visit, and I am planning on attending the TCNJ workshop this Thursday, as well as a few others in the upcoming weeks.
With that being said, we thank everyone for listening to our report, and we look forward to seeing you again at the next meeting.
It was very informative. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? Do you want to take the next?
Okay, thank you very much, ladies. Very impressive report this evening. So we're going to transition just to a recognition portion of the meeting. So each year we do take a moment to celebrate and acknowledge those employees that have 25 years of service to the East Windsor Regional School District. No small feat. I just will begin very briefly by thanking them for their level of deep commitment for quite some time. So that's becoming a thing of the past, especially in this day and age. So I don't take that lightly, don't take that for granted. And with that said, I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Ewrsd Boe just to begin the recognition.
Thank you. Ewrsd Boe, Assistant Superintendent, and doing one of the joyful things that we get to do here in district, and that's really celebrate our staff. We have a lot of reasons to celebrate our staff, but this is really an exciting piece because the recipients of our 25-year celebration started their journey with us in 1998. So none of our students were born by then, and only a handful of our first or second or maybe third year teachers were born by 1998. So it's really a very testament to their dedication to the district. Not very many people still stick with one district for 25 years, so it's pretty amazing that we have 4 of our recipients here today that have actually accomplished this goal. So we're really proud of their work with our kids. We're really hopeful that they're going to continue with us for a little bit longer, not 25 years more, but for a little bit longer. And we'll start our celebration with, who should we bring up first? Becky? Where are you? Where are you? Miss Felicetta is going to speak. Becky, Becky.
Yeah, oh, I'm good. I can do this. Okay. Hi, good evening. Good evening. Sam Felicetta, the principal of MHK. Miss Escribano has been a dedicated English as a second language teacher for 25 years. Congratulations on this milestone. While in East Windsor Regional School District, Miss Escribano has spent that time teaching at both Heightstown High School and Melvin H. Krebs Middle School. Over the years, her supervisors and administrators have commended her for data-driven instruction, for language acquisition, collaborating with her fellow ESL department colleagues, being an advisor to Delante Club. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Oh, thank you very much. Volunteering her time to work with the new Introduction to Education course, supporting and attending Latino Parent Nights, creating partnerships with her general education teachers in the sheltered courses, giving students individualized support and truly working with them, having a positive attitude and an enthusiasm for multilingual learners, connecting with students, mentoring new teachers, and being a part of the National Writing Project at Rider University. Miss Escribano is a valuable member of the MHK community. She cares about her students, and she is a respected teacher. We are lucky to have her as our colleague. Congratulations on 25 years.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We can have Mona come up next. Where is Mr. Diaz? Oh, there he is, Mr. Diaz. Oh, sorry. I didn't speak loudly enough.
That's good.
So do you have your...
I'm good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Dice, the principal of the Perry L. Drew School, and I have the honor of recognizing Mona Seafright. It is with great pleasure that I commend Ms. Seafright for reaching the milestone of 25 years of service in our district. Ms. Seafright has served as an educational assistant throughout her time here in East Windsor and has had a positive impact on the students and teachers she has worked with. She has served in a multitude of roles throughout various schools in the district. Ms. Seafright is a valuable member of our school community. Her most notable strength is her ability to connect with students, fostering meaningful and positive relationships. We appreciate everything Ms. Seafright has done for our community, and we look forward to the more positive contributions she will bring in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. We can have Jim come up next, and Mr. Vincent. I was going to say Mr. Dennis. Mr. Dennis.
Mr. Dennis. Mr. Jim Furtek is an educator to admire, extraordinary, dedicated to the professional as a teacher and as a coach. He has touched almost every person who he's come across. Often he comes into my office and said, "This is an easy one," but I appreciate that he's always checking in on us. Heightstown High School has been extremely lucky to have him as an integral part of our team since he joined us in 1998 at the age of 23. We're honoring Jim's service for service of 25 years and the profound impact he has had on the EWRSD community. As a teacher, Mr. Furbeck's passion for math is unsurpassable. He developed and implemented the discrete math course, as we like to call it, the high school advanced coloring. He's been awarded the East Windsor Regional School District Teacher of the Year award in 2003 and again in 2021. Mr. Furtek has been an integral part of the athletic department from the years 2000 to 2012. He has been the assistant chair of the Hall of Fame committee, and he has a record of having been a track coach for almost 15 years, tallying 31 seasons, and has included 2 CVC, numerous county state championships. He has been named the Coach of the Year and in 2004 CVC Sportsman Award winner. and the NJSIA Sports Award in 2009. He has shown commitment and dedication towards the high school interschool athletics. Mr. Furtek has continually shaped his instruction to support building the district goals and is a constant team player. Every school needs an educator like Jim. Congratulations.
You can stay. Laura.
We are gathered here today to celebrate the extraordinary educator, Miss Inglesa, who has dedicated an incredible 25 years to the field of special education. Miss Inglesa's commitment to her students go far beyond the classroom, exemplifying the true spirit of teaching. Throughout her career, Miss Inglesa has shown unwavering dedication to her special ed students. She goes above and beyond, tailoring her teaching methods to meet the unique needs of each child, whether it's creating personalized learning plans, providing additional support, or adapting materials. Miss Inglesa ensures that every student has the opportunity to thrive. But Ms. Inglesa's impact does not stop at academics. She understands the importance of emotional support, and she has made it a point to check in on her students long after they left her class. Her genuine care and concern continues to make a positive difference in their lives, fostering lasting connections and helping them navigate the challenges they face. Today, we honor Ms. Inglesa's 25 years of extraordinary service. Let us recognize the profound impact she has had on countless students and their families. Her dedication, compassion, and commitment to excellence are an inspiration to us all. Congratulations, Ms. Inglesa, on this remarkable milestone. Thank you for your enduring contribution to the world of special education.
Thank you again. We just want to extend our gratitude to our teachers who've been here for 25 years, supporting our students, our staff, each other. It's really an incredible milestone. We're so proud to be a member of your community. We'd going to have to take a picture. You know that, right? So if we could do that. And then another round of applause for them while they get up. Thank you. Yeah, come over here. We can do it right there, right? Do you want to come in the picture? So we're just going to go right here. It's a nice little small group.
Moving on to item 4, superintendent's report.
Okay, good evening, East Windsor Regional School District. I'll begin just by kind of reiterating and thanking our student representatives this evening, Anusha and Sudipta, for a very informative report. Definitely provides some insight into the student life at the high school, so thank you. I'll also just kind of reiterate my appreciation to our staff members who we just recognized this evening. I just think the employee commitment is paramount. You know, any organization is only the sum of the individuals who contribute to it, and for folks that are providing us with 25 years of consistent service, just speaks volumes, so just thank you again. Just a couple of highlights this evening. One, I just want to as we conclude the back to school night season, couple of things. One, thank you to those families who attended. Obviously, we wanted to resume to an in-person, more traditional back to school night process. Anecdotally, it appears that the attendance was relatively impressive. So I definitely appreciate folks taking that time out to come into schools and to kind of get a sense of what teachers are presenting and what our educators are presenting for this year. I also need to acknowledge the work and the preparation that goes into those evenings as it relates to our teachers and our administrators and also our custodial teams for preparing our buildings. But definitely want to thank folks for coming out, and I'm looking forward to our continued sense of having families within our buildings and our classrooms. A couple of things as it relates to October. As many of you probably recognize, this is kind of our Week of Respect, School Violence Awareness Week month. So the Week of Respect actually started today. Not that, you know, the other weeks should not be respectful, but these are formal recognition weeks as it relates to the New Jersey Department of Education. So during the week of October 2nd, this week affords an opportunity for our schools to focus on instructional efforts and programs geared toward the prevention of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. And obviously we want to make sure that we are using this as an opportunity to highlight the work towards creating environments that are welcoming and supportive for all of our students. During the third week of October, we will recognize School Violence Awareness Week. So during this week, schools across the state are required to provide students, parents, and staff and law enforcement with opportunities to discuss methods and ways in which we can keep our schools safe from violence. We also want to make sure that we take an opportunity during that week to highlight and kind of review and just consider some of our school safety and security plans and learn how to recognize students who are in need of some assistance, support, or help. So once again, another week that we're kind of bringing some greater attention to an issue that, excuse me, that obviously we should be dedicated to every week, right? But you know, it just so happens that during the month of October, the Department of Ed has decided that, you know, we are going to dedicate some additional energy, which I think is energy well spent. All right. Tonight, I'm asking the board to approve this year's district goals. Couple of highlights. You know, typically, you know, we have our established core goals, have not recommended any significant change to those. However, I did tonight separate. We had our core goal 2, which kind of combined our K2 literacy goal with kind of a need to address the achievement gaps of underperforming current and former. We use the language ELL, which is now multilingual learners, economically disadvantaged students, and also our special education population. The administration's recommended that we actually separate those two because it can be a little misleading. That achievement gap exists, you know, outside of English language arts, and we want to make sure that we are kind of honing in and paying close attention to how our students are performing across our content areas. So that's what's one recommendation for core goal areas. I believe that separating that language out of core goal 2 just creates greater clarity as we move forward. In terms of focus goals for this year, we're proposing 3. And I'll say the first one is a strategic planning emphasis. And, you know, the strategic planning process is just something that, to be quite frank, I was hoping to kind of engage in with the board prior to this year, but since my arrival in 2019, we kind of transitioned into dealing with COVID, which was just a reality. And I think that we were kind of dealing with some greater issues that kind of took precedent. It didn't mean that we didn't, you know, have a focus on what we needed to address, but I think that it was a little bit more of an emergency mindset in terms of how we were operating at that point. So I am recommending that we do engage this year with the strategic planning process, which will, by design, enable kind of a community stakeholder input and sense of collaboration as it relates to, one, identifying or revisiting our common vision and mission, but in the process engaging in kind of a 5-month process. It starts with a steering committee, but then we'll have a core group of stakeholders, and that could be comprised of students, staff members, and parents, to kind of go through the journey to determine what are those priority areas that we believe reflect where we are now and where we anticipate to go as a school district in the name of meeting the needs of students. Typically, the strategic planning process enables us to establish a 5-year cycle. Some districts go with a 3-year cycle, but that some of the benefits from that, I believe, are, one, you should theoretically have an authentic, shared, collective vision of what we believe those priority areas are for the school district. And in terms of ongoing updates and progress, it should result in that being very transparent, very clear, very incremental as it relates to our vision and our mission as it relates to the school district. So that's going to be kind of the heavy lift for this school year, but I do believe with an approximate May or June presentation to the board and the community, that will enable us to kind of see the fruits of our labor, but also the direction that we believe the district will be moving towards within the next 5 years. In addition, a focus goal area is connected around some work related to some professional learning in terms of supporting our teachers as it relates to meeting the needs of our multilingual learners. So we have invested in some professional development as it relates to, and it's not brand new, but it's just kind of revisiting and going deeper as it relates to providing some support for our teachers as it relates to sheltered instruction practices or SIOP strategies. That'll be something that we've started that process with our administrative team, but we will have teachers at the K-5 and 6-12 level engaging in that work, and we'll be kind of watching over that work and the implementation of it throughout the school year. The third focus goal area will be associated with the results or the recommendations of the district-wide equity audit that took place last year. We just received a preliminary report. So we did not receive the final report yet, but we did receive kind of a preliminary report as it relates to some of the findings and some recommendations, but we need to dig a little deeper into that within the next week or two. And once we have that finalized, I will be sharing that with the board and also the community in terms of where we are. I will remind the board that those areas that the audit focused on were kind of focused around 5 domains. Those domains were structures, systems, and resources, culture and community, equity in the educator workforce, professional learning and personal growth, and curriculum, instruction, and learning. So in terms of focus goal, we wanted to not have too many, to be completely honest with you, especially as we were looking to kind of reset and refocus where we're looking to go as a district with our strategic planning process. Last week, and maybe transitioning into this week, parents of those students who participated in the spring 2023 NJSLA, New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, should receive mailed home the individual student reports. Obviously, those student reports will provide parents with a sense of how their child fared. As a reminder, they are kind of providing that report and breaking into a score that's also associated with 5 levels to get a sense of, level 1 through level 5 based on did not meet expectations through exceeding. So families should be on the receiving end of those. And they are somewhat more descriptive than they've been in the past, which should provide you with a sense of that look back to spring 2023 in terms of how students fared on that statewide assessment. Associated with that, we do have an obligation and to report our statewide assessment performance data to the board, typically no longer than 2 months after receiving the information within the school district or the reports within the district. So that usually takes us to an end of October date. Actually, the state went a little beyond that this year. They're kind of using a September 12th land date in the district, and then you need to present that by November 13th. I think yesterday when I shared some information with the board, I mentioned a November presentation date. So disregard that. That presentation will take place on October 30th. That'll be our next board meeting. And as a reminder, our board meeting that's going to take place on October 30th was originally scheduled for October 23rd. So that is a revision just to make sure everyone has a placeholder for that. In conclusion tonight, just some celebratory news. One of our elementary schools, Grace Ann Rogers, will be getting a visit from the Department of Education leadership on October 11th for kind of an assembly program related to the future of public education. We're kind of in the early stages of just making sure we have a sense of what those details are. I will be sending an invitation to the board to attend. I think it's going to begin around 9:30 a.m. on October 11th. We believe that Acting Commissioner of Education, Dr. Alan Angelica McMillan, will be in attendance. So we're excited and proud that one of our schools happened to be selected for that venue. And with that said, it concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members of the board have any questions for Mark?
No questions. I just wanted to comment. I was going to ask when the results were going to be in, so thanks for letting us know. Will that be presented in email or will it be presented publicly? Both?
What results are those?
For the equity audit?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to, I think in terms of, I definitely will share it with you in written form. So right now, the process is that we have a preliminary document that we are reviewing. There's a feedback form that we are completing regarding questions, points of clarification. Once we go through that process, then we'll get the final document. I'm definitely going to share the final document, but I'm contemplating maybe breaking that down into maybe some slides to make it a little bit more palatable. So either that will be presented at a board meeting, but you'll definitely have an opportunity to review it as soon as we get that final report. So it should be within a couple of weeks. All right.
No other questions? Then we'll move on to section 5, first opportunity for board member comments. Are there any members who wish to make a comment? No?
Well, real fast, 25 years, I just want to go back to that. That's just amazing. I've been with my current company for 10, and I feel like it's amazing already. So 25 years is absolutely astonishing. So great.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to commend the teachers, staff, principal, and custodian staff at the back-to-school night at Crab School. It was well organized, and each teacher presented the curriculum and the criteria to meet our academic goals. Also, with the new parking lot, it was really nicely organized where people were able to exit and enter the property properly. Thank you so much, and it was well done.
Anyone else? I have 2 things. Jagriti just reminded me, I wanted to say that the drop-off at Krebs has been 1,000 times better than it was last year. I know.
Say that one more time.
The drop off at Krebs has been amazing. I have to shout out Eric, who really, he directs that traffic in the morning. I mean, that man deserves a medal. So it's been great. And then I just had one question. There seems to be, I've been hearing that there's somewhat, I know that Wi-Fi in the buildings has always been an issue. There seems to be something happening at the high school. I don't know if there was like a glitch or something last week. I know one of my kids had issues handing something in for Puddle because there's no Wi-Fi. And I think too, I've heard that some of the classrooms don't have the best Wi-Fi and it doesn't always work with what they're using.
So what I'll say is, last week we did experience a temporary loss of internet, and that was from our provider, and it was very temporary, but it did go down for a moment. That was short-lived. Typically, we get the feedback regarding, I'll call it reception, more so with the middle school, where we have some dead spots. But we, our tech department does a pretty amazing job in terms of trying to like find those and then create some additional Meraki's and some connectivity. So I haven't heard anything explicitly regarding the high school. I think what you may be referring to, but I'll follow up, was related to the fact that we lost connectivity across the district. So I could follow up for you.
Okay.
All right, I didn't know there was a specific high school related issue, but I know that last week we did have a district issue.
Yeah, I know, I just learned about that there was an issue with the one specific, but I can follow up with you about the one specific. If there's no other board member comments, we'll move on. First opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? If you could please state your name and address for the record, please.
Ed Hirschman. I'm representing both the Hightstown High School Parents Association and the Hightstown High School Music Boosters this evening. First, with the Music Boosters, October 14th is our home band competition. I would like to invite you all to come on out. 5:50, the Hightstown High School Choir will be performing the national anthem. 8:15, Hightstown will take the field. And we have a special guest that evening, the U.S. Coast Guard Academy Windjammers, Drum and Bugle Corps, will also be performing an exhibition that evening, joining us from New London, Connecticut, in addition to the 8 bands competing that evening. On the Parents Association side of things, October 22nd is our Berman 5K. Registration is open online. You can go to stephanieberman5k.org and register, or you can come out that morning starting at 8 a.m. and register here at the high school. The race kicks off at 10 a.m. And the Berman family donates all the proceeds of that race directly to the Parents Association for the after prom party. And yeah, it feels like we just got done with one and we're right back at it. So I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you out there, and thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir. Hit the button. You'll see the red light come on. There you go.
Got it. Drew Ciaffardelli. I live at 94 Andover Place in Robbinsville, New Jersey. I'm running for Mercer County Sheriff, and the reason I'm here tonight is to let you know that I will be swearing an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution just like all of you have done. So I'm sure over the past few years you've experienced some times where maybe the government was asking you to do things that you felt were in violation of the Constitution. I'll be running as a constitutional sheriff, and I'll have resources available to you if you feel that you're being asked to do something unconstitutional. Right? I don't know if you're aware of this, but on the last election day, every single machine went down on election day in every location for the entire day. Not a single machine worked, And that was because Paula Covello, who is the county clerk, made a change to the ballots, and the machines could not read them. Now, Dominion came in the day after and reprogrammed 5 machines. We are in the process of investigating what happened in that election to see if we can figure out what went wrong. But at the same time, I want you to know that these resources are available to you. So if any of you are running for a board seat and you're wondering whether or not you really won or lost, we have resources that can help you figure that out. Right? There were discrepancies that 6.6% of the ballots cast in East Windsor on Election Day were not reported, 268 ballots. Now, I'm not a law enforcement officer, right? I'm not a politician. I'm a regular parent in Robbinsville who decided to step up. I'm a small business owner, and let's see, what else can I tell you about myself? Well, as far as the sheriff's office is concerned, there's 150 sworn officers and 70 administrative staff. So there's a deep well of knowledge on how to run a sheriff's department. So it's not like we're lacking any institutional knowledge in the sheriff's office. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm the only candidate in column C. So if you're having a hard time remembering my last name, you'll see the Republicans, you'll see the Democrats, and you'll see my name, the only person in that column C. Drew Ciaffardelli for Mercer County Sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak? If there's none, then we will move to executive session. What do you think? The board should be gone around 20 minutes, and then we'll be back for voting items. Thank you. Okay, we're back. So, old business. The committee meetings have been updated. So, will the wellness meeting then move to the 30th, since there's no meeting on the 23rd?
We need to update this. The wellness will get moved to the 30th.
Next would be item 8.
Recommended policies for first reading. A, policy 164201, sick leave.
Second?
Any questions? Pull the board, please.
Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Ms. Lands,
Yes.
Ms. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes.
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Ms. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso.
Yes. 9.
Recommended regulations for first reading. A, regulation 16401, sick leave.
Second?
Questions? Pull the board, please.
Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Ms. Lands,
Yes.
Ms. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Ms. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso.
Yes. 10.
Mandated bylaws for second reading. A, bylaw 0163, quorum.
Second.
Questions? Pull the board, please.
Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Ms. Lands,
Yes.
Ms. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes.
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Ms. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso.
Yes. 11.
Mandated policies for second reading. A, policy 01432, high school student representative to the BOE. B, policy 1511, BOE website accessibility. C, policy 2415, Every Student Succeeds Act. D, policy 5513, care of school property. E, policy 5517, school district issued student ID cards. F, policy 5722, student journalism.
Second.
Questions?
Actually, I do, sorry. Very quickly on the high school representative for the BOE. Can there be a conflict of interest in this case? Like having a parent teacher in the school district, or having a board member as a parent, or something like that? Or should we have to think about that, or not at all?
I don't think so, because the student representative, they're a non-voting participant, and their primary role is to provide kind of updates and serve as a liaison between the student body and the board. All right, but if we discover that there may be something that could be problematic, then obviously we can address it, but those are the things that we look to vet before kind of recommending someone to serve in that capacity.
It's great to have, so.
Any other questions?
Yeah, and I know I emailed about this, but there was just one lingering question that I had about it, the student journalism, and I don't want you thinking I'm harping on this just because I was one, but I just want to make sure when I'm voting for it, I think it's the best it is for the students. The sentence about any prior review of school-sponsored media required by the school official shall be communicated to the student journalist by the school official. I understand that this is a school and, you know, a school official might need to look at something. My only thing was I was hoping that we could include shall be communicated to the student journalist and their advisor, because I'm just imagining if, you know, the school official emails a student and says, hey, I want to look at this article that I heard you're publishing, that might be intimidating for a student, and to have their advisor there to to teach them how to respond to a request like that, I think is beneficial for
a student journalist. So I'm not asking about, the prior review or anything. I understand that, but just who is initially communicated to in that review, if that makes sense.
No, so a couple of things. And I appreciate you bringing that up. So from a practical standpoint, the key word is may. So there's no have to here. So that this may occur,
I know.
right? and just from a the way we operate, we would not exclude the advisor. If there's a concern regarding a student journalist and what they're looking to publish, then we definitely would not exclude the advisor from that communication process. However, we may need to engage in a discussion with the student. And the reason I'm advocating to potentially not force it in here is that the student, look, the advisors are part of the process. I mean, to be honest with you, most of the delegation that will occur will be funneled through the advisor to communicate with the student anyway, right? So,
And I figured that. That's why I just wished it would be in here, because I know that's how we would do it.
But I don't want to have that preclude an administrator needing to, one, engage in communicating something to a student journalism if the advisor may not be available. I don't want that to prevent that from occurring. And remember, this policy is put in place, one, obviously to preserve free speech, student expression, but also to make sure that we're clear on things that do not represent protected student expression. So, if we're getting into something that could be libelous, slanderous, I don't want the administrator to feel like they can't engage in that communication with the student unless the advisor is a part of it. Now, typically, our practice would be not to exclude the advisor in that process. All right. So I'll make sure that we reinforce that. But I don't really have a reason. And once again, this policy is not saying must. It's saying may. All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes, no on F.
Mr. Fornias?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes, 12.
Recommended policies for second reading. A, policy 3270, professional responsibilities.
Second.
Questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Fornias?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes, 14. Me. That's
We're
me.
13. Oh, wait, no. We're,
Did I miss
we're
13?
We're at 13.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
13.
Mandated regulations for second reading. A, regulation 5513, care of school property.
Second.
Questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Fornias?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes. Item 14, second opportunity for board member comments. Are there any members who
So
wish to?
I just have a comment that I thought of because we were talking about back to school night, and then we were talking about technology. And so when I was at back to school night, one of the teachers said, I only have one plug in my room. And my students come in all the time without their Chromebooks charged. And so I was wondering if when we think about renovations to classrooms, do we think about creating more places for people to charge their Chromebooks? I know we tell students they need to charge them at home, but I think it does, when they don't do that, or if kids have trouble remembering those kinds of things, it really puts a barrier between them and learning because we really rely on that technology. So I just wanted to bring that up to see, and if we're not, we probably should be trying to improve that situation for our students.
So to answer the first question, yes, when we're renovating, we are cognizant of receptacles, plugs. Even without renovating, I'll identify the middle school, for example, we did engage in some additional chargers and having some strips potentially, and that also happens beyond the middle school. I'm not sure about a classroom with one plug. So we probably need to follow up on that to determine what else can be done. So maybe if you can just share with me what that is, you know, outside of this meeting, so I can just follow it up. But we just went through the renovation project at GNR, and that was kind of some older work in those buildings, and there was a need to kind of have some surface mounted receptacles and so forth to ensure there was adequate electricity accessibility in the room. So yeah, let's follow up on that, because that sounds like that's something we should take a look at. All right.
Thank you.
I saw on Facebook that there is the League of Women Voters is hosting a candidate forum, you know, not sanctioned by us or anything, but on Thursday the 19th at 7. Now I'm not sure if it's in the school or virtual. Yeah, I don't. It says video room. So I wasn't sure if it was in the video room or a video. So maybe if they're listening, they can clarify that. But that's on the 19th, and I don't know like who's going to be talking or whatever. But yeah. So just so you know who you're potentially voting for in November.
Just wanted to let everyone know here that I attended the Mercer County School Boards Association meeting wasn't last week, September 21st. Last week I was sick. But for our board members, I just wanted to let you know they have this new app on your phone. It's called NJSBA Connection. I have a QR code, but I'm sure we could find it on their website too. But I guess the hopes is that they could integrate us better, get us more involved in the county meetings and the state meetings and all of that, and get information to us, and then you can network with other board members from other districts and all of that. So I'm on it. I didn't go through it much, delve into it, but if you're interested, you could scan my QR code here. I'll leave it on the table. So, okay, and then the curriculum meeting met with Sandy Small and her curriculum team this evening. And we had a presentation given to us about NJQSAC and all the documents that they had to review over the summer. So NJQSAC is basically the process and the body that consolidates and incorporates and monitors federal and state requirements that all districts are, have to comply with. So again, our district was tasked to ensure we were in compliance and have updated all of our curriculum documents to reflect that. Most of these mandates arrived over the summertime, so it put a huge workload onto our staff, and I think they did an excellent job from what we were presented tonight. They've been diligently working all summer to do that. The content areas that were reviewed in each document are, well, first of all, let me tell you, the content areas reviewed are for language arts, math, science, social studies, world language, health, PE, and visual and performing arts. And then the areas that were reviewed in each document go over standards, accommodations, and modifications, which are inclusive of special ed, multi-language learners, at-risk, gifted and talented, and 504 students, assessments, including formative, summative, benchmark, and alternative assessments, core instruction and supplemental instruction, which spans varying academic levels across each grade level, pacing, which is basically the schedule that includes the concepts, topics, and skills that need to be addressed over a defined period of time, which could be a full year, a semester, a trimester, or in our specials. Career education, for example, financial literacy, how that's embedded into curriculum. Interdisciplinary connections, which is basically the curriculum presented in multiple formats based on needs. Integration of 21st century skills. Examples would be identifying community elements, analyzing lifestyle implications of what you're learning, physical demands, cultural diversity, etc. technology, and technology not in terms of just passing a test, but expanded to the concepts of digital citizenship, informational literacy, media savvy, tech literacy, research process skills, source evaluation, and among many others. So basically, again, this was reviewed across all content areas. Some curriculum were subject area specific, so it wasn't just K through 12 in subjects. There were some that are subject specific. Not going to get into all those details here. But basically where we're at, approvals will be made tonight based on what was presented to us in this meeting and what we looked at as a board online here. The updates have been submitted for NJCUSAC. We are awaiting any feedback. We do not anticipate any changes, but once all of that feedback has been received, the curriculum team will then go and get those documents, basically the syllabus and the curriculum documents, onto our website. You're thinking by the end of next week, if I'm not mistaken, Sandy? Yes, that's the anticipation. So that was it in a nutshell without too much detail. Any questions? We could ask Sandy next board meeting, or if you have any questions now.
Thank you, Tina. Does anyone have any questions for Tina? If there's no other board member comments, second opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone that wishes to make comment? No? If there's no public comment, 15.
Motion to approve routine items by exception. Having read the materials received, I move that the board approve the routine agenda items as submitted. A, approve travel and related expenses, virtual and in person. B, staffing 10-23. C, 2023-2024 district goals. D, staff evaluation system strong. E, approve new field trip sites for upcoming trips. F, request to establish a special education program. G, approve curriculum documents. H, tech recycling batch number 40, quote and items. I, approve ARP ESSER accelerated learning coaching and educator support grant, grades 3 through 5, student support consulting services. J, approve acceptance of the United We Discover grant for the Walter C. Black School. K, professional services for students. L, approval of proprietary purchase. M, transportation. N, transportation jointures. O, approval of board meeting minutes 5/8/23. P, approval of board meeting minutes 6/12/23. Q, approval of board meeting minutes 6/28/23. R, approval of board meeting minutes 8/21/23. S, approval of board meeting minutes 9/11/23. T, approval of board meeting minutes 9/18/23. U, report of the board secretary and financial report, June 2023. Expense and transfer reports of school monies report for June 2023. W, bill list of October 2nd, 2023.
Second.
Are there any questions?
I do on, line item F, a request to establish a special education program. I was just wondering, who does this pertain to explicitly? Is it all special ed students? Is it current students enrolled in class that have IEPs that may transfer over? Is this something we're going to do in the future? Like, when do we anticipate this being implemented? And I see it's based on German. Is there anticipation that other world languages will follow suit?
It's a lot of questions, Tina.
It is.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Let me see how I can do this. So no, what I'll say to you is this is for a specific cohort of students right now who are eligible for an inclusionary setting, but we did not have enough students to create that under the Gen Ed umbrella. So we're asking for permission to have a cohort of students all with IEPs in that world language setting together. So we're asking for permission to do that. Now, is it going to stop here? It doesn't have to, but this is a need that surfaced that we're looking to, that we think is in the best interest of these students currently. All right.
I appreciate that, and I agree, and I was very happy to see this, because it was my understanding that those in-class supports were not available for world language with the exception of Spanish, but don't quote me on that, because I don't have my notes with me. But
Well, let me
this
just be
is
clear.
good.
We're looking at, I should say inclusionary settings, where it's, we're both gen ed and special education students are there. Not necessarily with a special educator in the setting, but just ensuring that we have,
The supports.
well, yeah, and recognizing that we're looking to have those students obviously be with their age-appropriate peers. In this instance, we didn't have a section that could accommodate that, so therefore, these students were, they needed some support under the umbrella of German. So because they were together, we are asking for that to be okay, ultimately, all right? And for it to not be, the intent was not to create a special education class.
No.
But we kind of found ourselves moving in that direction, so.
Okay. All right,
all right?
thank you.
All right.
Are there any other questions?
I just want to confirm, I is coming from funding, right, rather than like our budget?
Good question. This is out of the ARP ESSER funding. This is providing some kind of instructional coaching to our teachers at the 3-5 level. So federal grant monies, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just had a question on Jay. The grant, is that new? Have we ever had that grant before?
I don't recall this specific grant before. We do have some energized teachers at Walter C. Black that tend to have grant funding under the arts umbrella. So this, I would imagine, would be a continuation of that. But this specific grant, I am not familiar with in terms of the inclusion component as it relates to arts and special education.
Thank you. Any other questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake,
Yes.
Ms. Lands,
Yes.
Ms. Murphy,
Abstain from D and G. Yes to everything else.
Mr. Fon, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Ms. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso.
Yes. 16, second executive session. We are having second executive session, correct? But we can adjourn right from there because there's nothing to vote on, right? Okay.